even normal cars with those sound like that kind of sound. So but when I had to buy here, it was like $13 to $14, and every time I pick it up and I'm like and then I used to keep it back. I never used to buy all those things in the first 1.5 years. Hello everyone, welcome to MALZ vlogs. So today I know this is like a repetitive sentence. Today what I'm going to do is blah 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 blah. So actually what I'm going to do is I actually didn't have any plans to do the vlog today, but then I thought, okay, I might as well come out and maybe later during the day pick up Prashant, and before that I will actually create a vlog for you guys. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing this is I usually get my salary by the 10th of the month. That's the way my company works, which is good. It's like a monthly salary that I get. So the thing is, since it's only the 9th, I think you'll be seeing this vlog only by weekend. Always, by just before the salary, there's always a crunch, right, for money. So I thought, why not do a vlog for you guys, wherein I talk about expenses in Canada, or specifically Saskatchewan. Okay, so that's the topic. So I just came to A&W, which is one of the joints like McDonald's or Burger King. I mean, I don't know whether it's a Canadian brand, but A&W is quite famous in Canada. Like DQ is also another brand in Canada. So since I didn't want to again go to a park and sit and do the videos, I thought I'll show you the beautiful clouds behind me. Look at how beautiful the sky is. This is how Saskatchewan sky is during summer. It's so scenic. Yeah, so I just got myself a cold brew or a cold coffee, and I thought, okay, I'll talk to you guys about expenses in Canada and what is the reality. Okay, I hope the audio is clear. I'm screaming with my lungs because it's by the roadside, and since it's summer, there are so many sports car outside, or there are even normal cars with those sound like that kind of sound. So now and then you will see a lot of things happening behind me. Okay, I'm not sure, it's not like populated city where you see a lot of things, but yeah, there's so many sports cars. Okay, I'm not deviating from the topic. I'm getting quite distracted by the cloud right behind me, but it looks like a wallpaper, right? So guys, I wanted to actually do a video on expenses in Saskatchewan, mainly Regina, Saskatoon and Moosejaw. Okay, so this is not like a comparison video, but I'm going to give you an approximate idea of about how much you will need as a couple, okay, or for two people, how much you might have to spend. Okay, I'm going to start with the time that you land and maybe after a year, how it's going to be for you guys. So it might be a long video, but if you're interested, you can continue till the end. And meanwhile, you can also share, like and subscribe to my channel so that you can get more content about Regina or Saskatchewan. Okay, so moving on. First, I'll talk about the first thing that you'll spend in Canada is coffee at Tim Hortons. This is not Tim Hortons, but it's A&W. But as soon as you land in Canada, you have to put that mandatory picture with the Tim Hortons cup, right? So that's something that you might spend on. So Tim Hortons is one of the cheapest coffee that you will get in Canada, and that is not what I wanted to talk about. But let's talk about food and grocery and rent and those kind of things. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is housing. How expensive is housing in Saskatchewan? So I have already put a video about accommodation in Saskatchewan and how is the difference between Saskatoon, Regina and Moosejaw. But now I'm going to specifically talk about the rent part, or how much you'll have to spend for housing, or how much might go out of your salary. So as a person who comes to Canada for the first time, like whoever is watching my vlogs, I know 80% of you guys are people who've come here as students, or who's come here as a student and has a spouse along with you, or has come on PR but is starting off. Okay, I'm talking about these category of people. It's not people who've come with a job. Okay, so these kind of people who falls in this category usually will get a job which has a minimum pay. Okay, so the minimum wage currently in Canada is around I think $13. Yeah, so there are several expenses that you will encounter in Canada, like any other place that you're staying in, right? So I'm first going to talk about how much salary will you get as a student, or how much salary will you get as a newcomer in Canada. So the not Canada, specifically Saskatchewan. In Saskatchewan, the minimum wage currently is $13 per hour. Most of the places it's an hourly rate, but even if you're getting a monthly salary, they usually tell you, how much you will earn in a particular hour. So minimum wage is 13 hours, usually $13 Canadian dollars, and usually people who come as students or people who come as a newcomer to Canada usually starts at that range, because you will be taking up survival jobs, right? And especially students, most of the students, they can work like part-time jobs, which is like 20 hours. So basically in a month you might just earn nearly around $1,000, okay, $1,100 depending upon how many hours you get. But at the same time, if you're working full time, you might get around $2,000 something. Okay, so considering the fact it is a couple wherein one person is a student and the other person is working full time, okay, you might at an average get maybe around $3,500. I'm just saying approx. Okay, now I'm going to tell you how much is going to be the expense as a couple. So one more thing that you need to consider is, I'm going to talk about Regina, and some facts that you need to consider is Moosejaw is a little cheaper than Regina and Saskatoon is a little expensive than Regina. So take minus $100 to $200 for Regina, Moosejaw, and plus $200 for Saskatoon. Okay, this is like the average, like whichever slab you're considering, take it plus or minus. Okay, so Regina is like the midpoint. Rental, if I'm telling you, I stay in a 1-bedroom apartment, which is comparatively cheaper than most of the apartments in Regina, because we actually cracked a deal with the owner and got this particular apartment. It's a small apartment as compared to other apartments, but I thought it's just me and my husband Prashant, so it is more than sufficient for both of us, because we'll be working throughout the day. It's only the night that we come and crash at home, or during the weekends we spend time, right? So my apartment cost around $850. Okay, you should understand that as a student or as a couple who's coming here for the first time, $850 is a huge amount. Okay, and if you're taking Moosejaw, it might be around $700 or $600, and if you're taking Saskatoon, it will be plus 200. That is, it will be around $1,200 for a 1-bedroom. So rent is one of the main chunk that will actually eat up your salary. Okay, so you get your salary and a major chunk will go for rent. The rent is one major thing. The other thing is utilities. So whenever you take an apartment in Saskatchewan or anywhere in Canada, there'll be plus utilities. Plus utilities can mean your internet, it can be your hydro, it can be your power bills, it can be your water bills. So whenever you take an apartment or a house anywhere in Canada, or even in Saskatchewan or Regina, or wherever you are, always ask if utilities are included. I would suggest you go for a place where utilities are included. Even if you're spending a little more, go for such a place. In my place, actually, internet, power, everything, it's all inclusive, and I'm just paying around $850. He actually increased just around around $40 this year, but I was just paying around $810 to $819 till last year. So always check if the utilities are included in your total rent. If it's not, then it's plus, right? Like you pay 800 rent, then it is like around $50 for maybe your power bill, or depends on where you're staying and how much of consumption is. Especially during winters, the consumption is more, right? So it's going to be power, it's going to be additional internet, is going to be another around maybe $30-40. Then you are going to have a water bill. I've never paid for water, so I'm not sure about it. But then you will have what else is a hydro bill. Again, hydro I haven't paid, so I'm not sure. But keep another like maybe around $100 extra additional to your rent in case your utilities are not actually included in your rent. Okay, so that is the rent part. So you always need to make sure that your utilities car included in your rent, or else you will actually spend at least another additional $100 additional than your rent, right? Which I wouldn't suggest. So try to get a place where maximum is included, but very rarely you'll find those kind of places. If you're getting, you're lucky. Okay, so that is rent. Next thing that I would which actually majorly eats up your expense or your salary is if you have a car. Saskatchewan is actually one of the place which has the lowest amount for insurance. That's around maybe around $110 per month for insurance, compared to other places like Toronto or Vancouver and all, where you pay around $400 and all for car insurance, right? So Saskatchewan is cheaper. So there are benefits of staying in Saskatchewan, wherein you get these kind of actually it's governed by a authority called as SGI, so it's like government regulated. So it's not that you can increase the insurance at any point of time. It's like stabilized, so it depends upon how many points you have on your driving license and those kind of things. It's a separate thing altogether, but I'm paying around 110. So I'm going to talk about my expense, guys. I don't know about how much other people spend, and it's not that I spend a lot, neither do I spend very less. So mine is like average, like a medium level. I do splurge a little bit on food, or a little bit of clothes at times, mainly on food. But then I think this will be like the average slab. Okay, so if you're taking so car is one major thing, right? Your insurance, you're paying around 100. Then maybe in a year you will spend something for maintenance, which I'm not considering in the expense. And then you will also have gas expense, gas as in petrol. Okay, so mine is a SUV, so I spend around maybe $160 to $200 per month. I don't drive much in the city. It's usually when I actually travel a lot, like I travel often to pick up Prashant or something of that sort, that my bill is high. But otherwise my gas bill is around $200 to $300, I would say, depending on how much you drive. When we used to do deliveries and those kind of things, it used to be more expensive, but now I don't do deliveries. I don't do that part-time job, so it's not that expensive. It is reasonable. Okay, actually changing the angle now and then because the sun is just setting, right? So it's all over the place, and I think there's shadow falling on my face. So I hope the video is good. And there are people walking around and I'm getting too conscious about it. But anyways, okay. So now what I'm going to talk about, I've talked about rent and I've talked about car expense, right? The next one is mainly going to be your food, or I would classify that into two. One is your bought out food, or what you eat out, like deliveries or whatever, and the other one is going to be your grocery. Okay, so grocery is a major chunk here. Okay, and I spend around $300 to $400 per month for groceries. I'm talking about now. Okay, so initially when I came here, obviously I didn't have much money. I came here alone. Prashant wasn't here, and I was just getting around $1,000 per month. Obviously you have your GIC amount, which is like your student fund that you have put in the account, but other than that you're not having any income, right? It's just that part-time income that you have. So the first 1 year I was very careful about how much I spend. I never used to eat out. I never used to buy clothes. Like, I've never bought new clothes, okay, in the first 1.5 years. Even if I wanted like new clothes, I used to like go to like Value Village, which is like a thrift store here, and I used to pick up clothes from there. As long as I can wear something new, I was fine with it, and I didn't want to spend anything for anything new. The only major expense I had during the first 1.5 years was the car, because I needed it. But other than that, it was nothing. I haven't spent for anything much. So I would say that the first year you need to be like extremely careful about how much you spend, because you wouldn't know, like you wouldn't know how the expense is piling up. So you need to have a clear idea about how much you will need in a month, and you should at least have 6 months of fund with you in your account when you come here. If you're having the GIC account, you're kind of okay. But if you're coming in PR or something, make sure you have enough fund in your account, or else the first 2-3 months is going to be a struggle. Okay, and Canada, I would say, is not like a very cheap place. Okay, it is expensive. Like when I came here and I started spending for groceries and mainly for groceries, like I would really feel the pinch, because the only example I can think about is chicken. You know, like chicken is so cheap back in India, but when I had to buy here, it was like $13 to $14, and every time I pick it up and I'm like, and then I used to keep it back. You know, I never used to buy all those things in the first 1.5 years. It's only that recently that, you know, that I don't actually check the price tag, which I still do, but not much. Like I'm not very very conscious wherein, you know, I have like a budget to spend on. I spent a little bit now, okay, but initially the first 1 year it was very difficult, you know, like maybe I'll make a different video about that, like what are my struggles in the first year and what you might face. So yeah, so I've talked about rent, I've talked about car expense, I was talking about groceries. So groceries, I spend around $300 to $400 plus minus 100, and this is for a couple. Okay, and it's not that we spend a lot on Indian food, I mean Indian groceries and all. Like we are not very specific about it, and Indian groceries are not very expensive, but yeah, comparatively if you look, it's a little expensive. And then we usually shop at Walmart, sometimes at Costco, and then 1 or 2 Indian stores. Okay, so these are the places that we shop, and our bill is around that much. And then I would say that there are a lot of ways to save money on that also. Like you can go to Costco and buy in bulk, which we don't do much because we feel that it's too much for 2 people, right? But if you're coming here as a family and you think that, you know, that you can stock so much in your house and all, then okay, Costco is the best option. But if you're just a couple and, you know, you don't spend, you don't want too much of groceries in your house, then I would suggest that, you know, Walmart is a good option. So that's one thing. Okay, last year, like car wash and all, I used to be like once in like 2-3 weeks I used to like spend like $6 or $7 and get a car wash done. But after moving to Regina, there's like an automated car wash, so I get my car wash done there. So that's like around $45 per month, unlimited car wash. So I've taken that because especially during winter you need to keep washing your car, or else, you know, the car tire rims and all gets rusted because the salt they put on the road. So that's an addition to the car expense. Okay, yeah, groceries is one. So I told you, right, around $300-400. The next one is eating out. So this depends on each one's preference, right? Like we eat out a little bit more, I guess. I think so. I'm not sure whether other couples or other people are like this, but we like exploring places. At least once a month we go in for a proper dine-in experience, and then at least once or twice in a month we buy out. Like, you know, we go and pick up maybe like a pizza or, you know, some Indian food. Like all of a sudden I'll feel like eating paneer butter masala, and Prashant hates paneer, but still I'll be like, I want paneer butter masala, and then we'll be like ordering from some Indian store, Indian restaurant. So yeah, so that is one other expense, right? Like eating out, it depends. So we might be spending around maybe around $150 approx. Like it's not like a fixed amount, but around $150 we would be spending on eating out. Okay, and so that is done. Grocery is done and eating out is done. So another like around $500-600 goes just for groceries and eating out. I think the expense will be higher than our income. I'll show you the total ones after calculating. I don't want to calculate in front of you guys because I might get a very wrong number on the screen. So I will calculate with my calculator and then put it down. So that is done. Now another major expense that you will have is your mobile bill. Guys, unlike India, wherein you go to this, what is it? You go to any bakery or you go to any any random grocery store, right? And you say, Cheta, 15 rupees in the recharge area. That doesn't work here, okay? There's no recharge. Even obviously it's a postpaid bill, but there is no way you can actually recharge for 15 rupees or 20 rupees or 100 rupees or 150 rupees. I miss the 150 rupee, 149 rupee Airtel recharge. I miss it so much because here mobile bills are very, very expensive. I can't tell you how expensive it is. Every month when I pay, I'm like, why the hell am I paying so much? The worst part is you don't even have anybody to call here, right? So I don't even have international calling on my mobile, but I pay so much for my mobile bills. So as soon as I came to Canada, so I'm telling stories because maybe you can relate to the same. So when I came to Canada initially, I came with an Indian mobile, okay, and what happened is the mobile conked off as soon as I came here because of the charging point, and it didn't work. Like, so within a month my mobile conked off, and then I had to buy a new mobile. Sorry guys, got a call from office. Yeah, so what I was telling is I think I'll have to check the video again and find out what I was talking about. Bye. Okay. What I was talking about, let me check. Yeah, so finally realized that I was talking about the mobile. Okay, so yeah, my mobile conked off as soon as I came to Canada, like within a month. So I thought, okay, why not go to a store and buy a mobile, like how you do in India. You go and say, okay, I want that particular mobile with this specification, and just take the mobile and come, you put your SIM card inside. That doesn't work in Canada. When you buy a mobile, you also have to take a mobile connection. So what happened is, when I landed in Canada, I took one SIM card, not from the airport but from outside. But then I couldn't use that particular service provider, because when I had to buy the mobile, I went to Source, which is like the mobile shops in India, right? It's called a Source here. So I went to Source, and they told they only have connection with Bell, so I have to take a Bell connection. So I took a Bell connection, and I'm paying so much for mobile bills. I don't know why, but they charge so much for mobile bills. Actually, recently we upgraded our mobile phones. Both of us took similar phones. So I pay around $250 for, obviously, the mobile phones. Like, we were paying on installments, like monthly payments. And then the mobile bill. So my plan is like $75. Prashant's plan is around $65 plus the device fee for both of us, right? So that is how much I pay, around $250 for mobile. Okay, and the only calls I make is to Bell, or I make a call to Prashant, or else I make few calls to the US because I have US customers. So that's all I do, and still I'm paying so much for the mobile bill. At least in India, we used to make calls to our friends who's in Delhi or Bombay or somewhere, and at least it's considered as an STD. Here, nothing. Okay, I really don't know why they charge so much. Sometimes you feel, like Canada is actually so technologically backward. Not in other things, at least telecom or the internet space. It's can't tell you. People out here don't even use, like, majority of the people don't even use WhatsApp here. I don't know why. Maybe it's not a preferred medium. Maybe they're used to text. So yeah, mobile bill. Mobile bill is quite expensive. Yeah, so mobile bill is done. Then what? Then obviously you might like go out for a event, right? Like you have a lot of events happening last couple of months. Like for winter we have things like Frost. Then for summers we have like Queen X, which is like expo kind of a thing. So all these additional, maybe like another $50 to $100 you can keep aside for events, or your entertainment purpose, like movies or something of that sort. Other than that, I will actually show you like a pie chart kind of a thing, where I'm showing my regular monthly expense, so that you get an idea where I spend more. Or should I show that? Yeah, let me see. If possible, I'll put it here. Of how much on an average goes for what. So I've done car, I've done rent, I've done shopping, I've done groceries, I've done eating out, car expenses. Yeah, so I think I've covered most of it. So if you look at it, you might end up spending this in the first year. You will have very little savings. Okay, I literally had no savings, because obviously I had a debt back home and I had to make payments here. Prashant wasn't here, so I was the only person earning. Even after Prashant came, he was on a visit visa for around 6 months. So again, then I was the only person earning, and then we were doing part-times, where we were doing it in cash or on my name. So the income was very, very less. as compared to how much expenses we had. Like I told you, Canada is not cheap. It is not at all cheap. Once you land here, you'll understand how expensive it is. But obviously, if you look at a long run, like now I'm able to at least save some money, send some money to India, or like I'm able to do that. The first year I couldn't do anything, to be very frank, guys. The first year was like terrible for me financially, because I came with a limited fund to study in college, and then I had the GIC amount. Other than that, I didn't have anything, right? So it was very difficult during the first year for me. And then obviously when my husband also came here on a visit visa, when he came on a visit visa, he's not earning, and then we had limited amount on part-time jobs. So literally there's been so many instances where we go to shops, we'll really like something, even the smallest of thing. What can I tell you? Like, we've gone to an Indian store and we've seen like something for $5 or $10, but we used to like look at it and be like, maybe not this month, we'll buy it next month. So we've done that. We've been there the first year for most of the things, like eating out also, like maybe once in a month we used to do it, or even buying groceries. We used to be very careful. We never used to buy anything for ourselves. Like I told you, we used to go to a thrift store and buy it, and then we used to keep consoling ourselves saying, no, next year, or the year after that, we will buy all these things, we will. So we kept consoling ourselves saying that. So I will show you a total of the monthly expense that I have, or I used to have in the first year and I used to have in the second year, so that you guys can also the income, so that you guys can have an idea about how much we used to earn in the first year, how much we are earning in the second year, and it will be in and around that much. Okay, like it's an average, I'm telling you, it's not the exact, but that's going to be your average expense and income. All those people who are coming to Canada with a dream that you will earn millions in the first year, no, you won't earn, because you will have a very limited amount of salary and you will have a very huge amount of expense, and obviously there will be a lot of unexpected expenses and also unexpected income from the government. The thing is, especially in Saskatchewan, you have a lot of benefits, like you have climate action benefit, or you have rental top-ups and those kind of things. So there's also income coming in from the government. Like all of a sudden you maybe like get $300-400, and also you have sudden expenses. Maybe your car breaks down, you have to do that, or during winter, you have some expenses to expenses that's coming up. So those kind of things. So I wouldn't say you can predict certain expenses, but on an average, this is how it's going to be. So if you ask me, like there are a lot of people who ask me, is Saskatchewan a good place to come? Is it a good place to settle down? I would say expense wise, Saskatchewan is an amazing place to come because rentals are comparatively low. Obviously the minimum wage is also low, but then rentals are comparatively low. I've made a separate video on life in Saskatchewan and the benefits, pros and cons and all. I'll try to put a link somewhere here, or you'll find the link below in the description. Okay, so check that out. Comparatively it's a cheaper place to live, but at the same time you're making lesser money here, so I don't know how that balances out, but I feel the percentage wise you'll be able to save more in Saskatchewan, because obviously the rentals are very, very expensive in bigger cities, right? And it's not that they make like double of what we make, they just make a couple of dollars more. So that's it, guys. So if you have any specific question, I think I have covered all aspects of expenses. I'm still thinking, have I left out anything? Like these are the major ones, but if you have any specific doubt about any specific thing that you want to spend in Canada or anything specific, comment below, let me know. I'll be more than happy to do the video. I'm in that video mode spree, I hope this lasts, wherein I'm doing continuous videos, and that so that you guys get enough details about Saskatchewan, Regina, Saskatoon or Moosejaw and all those places. I also have plans to do couple of videos about Saskatoon or Moosejaw. Let's see. Okay, I'm not giving any promises. If I'm able to travel, then I will do the video. So guys, please like, share and subscribe to people who are coming to Saskatchewan. If you're already in Saskatchewan and you want to know more about places, because I'm also doing that, I also explore places and give you details about those. So if you want to know more about all these kind of things, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. And I'm also planning to do videos about what are the good places in Regina, or what are the good places in Saskatchewan, how can you travel around Canada, all these kind of things. I have a plan. Let's see how that happens. So that's it, guys.